Welcome to my channel. This divorce story of everyday people like you and I who lost their marriage over a selfish and silly assumption will make you think twice if you are contemplating divorce like her. If this is the sort of stories you like, subscribe to my channel so you can get a notification whenever I upload a new video. Let's get right down to it. This is the story of Joey and Molly. Molly said she had lost herself completely in her first marriage and wanted to find herself again. So she divorced her perfect husband and married her Prince Charming. But things don't always turn out the way we want them. Isn't it? If she knew what she knows now, she would never have left her husband.
I met the love of my life at work. We had a dream relationship and he became my husband. We had a very good relationship. We had similar opinions and interests and we were completely in love with one another. We had no troubles and there was never a conflict. We adapted really well to situations and it was easy for us to see things from the point of view of each other. We were like a snail and its shell. Anywhere Joey went, I was there 24/7. After a few years we couldn't wait to start living together. He proposed to me in the most romantic way and soon after we got married. Our families were in support and life couldn't be prettier. It was easy to love him. I felt loved and supported, and because he loved me like no one ever did, I made him my priority. He was my best friend. We saw our marriage as a daily decision and we regularly invested in it to make it better, and we didn't just assume it would always be good. We turned to each other first in time of needs, greatest joys and deepest sorrows. Life was beautiful. My husband made good money and gave us more than we needed. Whatever he couldn't give us was because it was beyond his capacity as a human being. My husband tried really hard to hold his family together. However, in spite of our love and deep connection, something began to change. Little by little our 15-year-old marriage began to crumble and it eventually collapsed completely. No, it's not what you think. We didn't fight. There wasn't any heated argument or that sort of thing. There was no cheating, no abuse, no betrayal. There was nothing. It might surprise you if I told you we never fought. We never raised our voices at each other. We were always lovey-dovey. I just began to lose interest in things that brought us joy and where we had common ground. I wanted to regain who I was because I had lost all of me in the marriage as I focused on raising my children and being a good wife. I let marriage take control and my life revolved totally around him and our 3 children. Joey was my best friend, so I didn't care for a lot of friendship outside my marriage. I somehow began to lose all energy and enthusiasm, especially when our last child became a teenager and they didn't need me as much as they did when they were younger. I wasn't as excited as I used to be with Joey anymore. I watched him go to work and waited for him to return. It felt like I was confined in a prison in my own home. Joey got promotion after promotion. He was happy and excited about life while I felt I didn't accomplish much after I took on the role of a homemaker. I was miserable. Why was it so easy in the first instant to give up who I was, my career, my goals and aspirations for love? The more I thought about it, the more I realized I had lost years I could never get back. Life seemed tiring and I felt a little lethargic doing chores. I had done them for 15 years. Everything became dull, tedious and repetitive and I didn't want to do anything anymore. I began to resent myself. In fact, I could go 2 days without bathing or taking care of myself. Joey knew instantly I had changed, and when he couldn't get a reasonable explanation from me, he advised we see a marriage counselor. I didn't want to seek help. I said the situation was peculiar to me and no one would understand. I gave up who I was for my family. When my children became less dependent, I began to see I wasn't needed anymore, and felt less in front of my husband. Our conversation had moved from those intellectual discussions about work because I lost track of what was happening around. I finally went with him to see a counselor. But nothing came out of the sessions. I began to close myself off from everyone. The counselor couldn't get me to open up to her. I didn't believe she would understand me. Joey was so worried about me and it affected him immensely. One day, he returned from work to an empty home. My children were at school but I was gone. I left him a signed divorce paper on the dining table. I later learnt he was devastated and heartbroken. He couldn't find me anywhere because no one knew where I went after I left our home. Not even my parents. They advised strongly against leaving my husband, but I thought they didn't wear my shoes so they wouldn't understand. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't trade Joey and my children for anything. They were the best things in my life, but I threw them away at the time. I didn't understand that being mom and wife were a lot more rewarding and natural. My feeling of inadequacy could have been handled better. I got a job in another state and began to find myself again. A year later I met Collins. Our marriage was barely 2 years when I found out my husband was cheating on me with different women. By our 5th year wedding anniversary he had cheated with over 30 women that I was aware of. He was nothing but a cheater and a liar. Actually, I caught him cheating once before we got married, but his excuse was that we were not married and weren't obligated to each other. Eventually we got past that and got married. I thought he would change once I accepted his proposal. He did, but it was just for a while. I had a dream wedding and honeymoon. But once the dust settled down, and I became pregnant, my nightmare began. I realized he never stopped cheating. He thought so highly of himself and I couldn't believe I got entangled in hot mess once again. I really thought I knew him well enough that I determined he was worthy of me. When I confronted him after the discovery, he said he just loved to have fun. He was sorry that he hurt my feelings, but he was used to that kind of life. A life of cheating and promiscuity. None of his friends could talk sense into him because he was surrounded with friends who had marital problems and followed each other's advice. They were all cheaters like him who have been in several relationships and marriages. We had regular altercations and this became a daily routine for us. Sometimes our neighbors interfered to calm me down. They told me I wasn't the first and probably won't be the last. So for my sanity and general well-being I needed to give peace a chance. But how could peace be a third party in this marriage that was never peaceful from day one? Some days we were like other happy and normal couples. Other days we fought like our very existence thrived on that. I asked why he lied to me and pretended he loved me. He said he never lied to me but just didn't tell me the extent of his foolishness. I cried the whole night, and the second, the third day. In short, I bawled my eyes out the whole week. I couldn't accuse him of breaking his vows to me when in fact I didn't keep mine with Joey. Here I was. I had gone full circle again, not bathing for days except on days I had to go to work and crying about how miserable my life had turned. I stopped sleeping with him. What's the point anyway? I caught him looking at porn videos many times. He made suggestive comments about others and compared my look to others. I just couldn't bear it anymore. A part of me wanted to blame Joey for my woes. Why didn't he look for me? Why didn't he fight for his love? Why did he allow me to go? I could go on and on in my internal dialogue, but even I knew he didn't stand a chance. I absconded. He didn't know where I was. Then I started missing Joey more. It's true. You never know what treasure you have until you lose it. I had a miscarriage and only then did I realize I had contracted HIV/AIDS from Collins. My second marriage was only 2 years, and I was already out of the door. Joey. Oh Joey. How I miss Joey. I checked his Facebook page several times a day. I saw him and our children happy. He was still single. A part of me was excited and hopeful, but it was already 5 years from the day I left our home. I hadn't gone to see my children or my parents. The thought never crossed my mind until I lost the pregnancy. I had become an excuse of a mother. Collins still wasn't over one of his ex who bore him a child. He often went to her house on the pretense of visiting his son to have some intimate moments with her. He met Oliver at a friend's party and they became friends. One night Collins went to a club in search of some fun and found his new friend Oliver with his girlfriend. Oliver was completely unaware Collins and his girlfriend were an item, and the lady was also oblivious that they knew each other. Who would she rather be with? She chose to be with Collins even though he was a married man. Oliver was livid. His girlfriend had just dumped him in a most humiliating way. He was calm about the extremely embarrassing situation and left the club while they walked into a corner of the room. By the second day, at 10 in the morning, I saw my husband's car at the parking lot in front of our house. I didn't see him at all throughout the night and was surprised to see him hunched his steering wheel in a deep sleep. I shook him to wake him up, but he was not moving. Life had unfortunately left him. I dialed 911 and it was determined he was indeed gone when the police arrived. Who did it? Accusing fingers were pointed at me. Our neighbors knew we had problems because of his infidelity and told the police we were having problems. Police conducted their investigations and I was cleared of any suspicion. The investigation revealed that a certain lady, Sandra by name, had a huge crush on Oliver but hates his girlfriend who was also Collins's girlfriend. Sandra warmed her way into her heart and puts up with her to be around Oliver even though she hated her. But it turned out that Collins also had a huge crush on Sandra. Collins was a womanizer, so it came as no surprise to her and she didn't want any relationship with him at all. In fact, she hated him with passion. That night she followed Oliver and his girlfriend to the club. After seeing from a distance how he was treated, she was enraged and vowed to take revenge for him. She followed Collins home and shot him in the head at a close range and ran off. Luckily, the whole event was captured by a CCTV camera. Sandra was arrested and sentenced to life in prison without parole. My life was a far cry from what I envisaged it would be. It became a roller coaster of emotions. I had lost a child and a husband in the space of 2 years. Where would I start from? Who would I tell my story? I asked myself. I was in intense grief and pain. I lost myself one more time, but this time, I knew my life with Joey was the best I would ever experience. I still went back to see him and my children on Facebook, but I dare not approach them. I was too ashamed to even try. I decided to write this story of how I ruined my perfect marriage to warn others who might find themselves in my shoes someday. It didn't end well for me. Because last month, which was a year after Collins's death, my company decided to give our CEO a birthday surprise at a famous restaurant in town and everyone was invited. Everyone was happy and they chatted away. I sat at the far end of our allocated section of the restaurant and sobbed. No one knew the trouble I was in. No one knew the depth of my grief and sorrow. That day was Joey's birthday. As I looked through his Facebook profile, I saw him with that natural charm and his characteristic big smile on his face, with our 2 children standing on either side of him with their fiancé and fiancée. Something about him had changed. It was something I couldn't really decipher. Upon closer look at his responses to some comments he wrote, I owe it all to Jesus. Jesus. Had he found Jesus? Wow. He was stunning. Older, yes, but he exuded a refined and mature charm that captivated my heart once again. That air of distinguished elegance. Those eyes, deep and soulful, showed a wealth of life experiences and wisdom. His smooth and lightly tanned skin reflects his healthy lifestyle and adds a touch of vitality to his overall presence. Though he bore subtle signs of aging, they only added to his attractiveness, accentuating his maturity and the life experiences that had shaped him. However, it is not just his physical appearance that made him handsome. His warm and charismatic personality was magnetic. It should be me holding his hand. It should be me in his warm embrace. My heart bled and my pain was enormous. I was so immersed in my world and didn't know when a man walked up to me. He stood behind me for a moment and tapped me gently on the shoulder. I jolted in my seat and turned sharply. It was a colleague Joey and I had worked with at the same office before our marriage. I was a sorry sight. I knew I looked older than my age. My skin was rough and wrinkled. My eyes were sunken. When I finally gathered my thoughts, I responded, "I'm afraid you are talking to a wrong person." But he pointed at the picture on my phone and stared back at me with a puzzled look on his face. I quietly excused myself and walked out the door with tears streaming down my eyes. I made that dreadful decision to leave Joey, so now I have to deal with it.
This is indeed a very sad story. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 4 states that marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. This phrase says in all of your doings and dealings with anybody or whoever, anywhere and at whatever time, in fact in all circumstances, marriage should be respected, honored and highly esteemed. It emphasizes the sanctity of the marital bed, implying that intimate relations within the context of a marriage are acceptable and pure. Your matrimonial bed must not be defiled. You must not share your body with anyone else. Stay in a committed monogamous relationship with your spouse. Your body is the temple of God. You must keep it holy, pure, and sacred. Immoral behaviors such as adultery, fornication, engaging with multiple partners defiles God's temple and your matrimony. It further states that God will judge those who partake in such actions. Your vow should be a reminder of your commitment to honor and uphold the sanctity of marriage. If you can't do this, you should not stand before God and make a vow you can't keep. It's better not to make that vow. Do you know that the fear of God, patience, kindness, commitment, good character, love, joy, effective communication, attraction, friendship, loyalty, laughter and smile, negotiation, respect for family, respect for one another, love for God, prayers and the Word of God are very essential at the foundation of every marriage? Without them it might be difficult for it to withstand storms of life. I wish Molly's marriage to Joey was founded on Christ. I wish she chose a life with Christ than with chaos. For a life that has no Christ is a life of chaos. One thing is clear, that marriage isn't to be trivialized. It is deeper than you can ever imagine. As we evolve daily in our marriage relationships, new things will begin to emerge, whether because of old age, sickness, children's challenges, families and in-laws, etc. Whatever it is, we must not forget our wedding vows we made before God and man. Let us learn to pray more and love God more. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4 to 7. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Whenever you think about your marriage, think about this verse. It will help you to treat your spouse and marriage better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell, like and leave your comments. Thank you for watching my video, beautiful people. Until next time, bye and God bless you.